Hello and welcome back to a brand new solo on playthrough. Today we're gonna be playing an Enchantress Warlock, which is in my opinion one of the most fun build concepts to use. You get access to so many busted and very fun to use enchantment and illusion spells. Those are the kind of spells that allow you to control your enemies at will. So there are so many different tactics and strategies to employ here. And since this video is gonna be covering Act 1 and 2, we have a bunch of opportunities to really show off that variety of spells. And in general have a good time.
What?
If you're curious about the build, I will try to highlight any important items we find along the way. And I will also make a very detailed build guide at the very end of the series. But if you still have questions, feel free to comment down below. And if you have any feedback regarding this video or what I do in the video, also comment that. I really try to improve every time, so feedback is very much welcome. In case you're curious, I am level 5 right now because I use my level 1 to level 5 route, which is up on my channel, so if you want to copy that, feel free to do so. But yeah, leave a comment for feedback, and enjoy the video.
Again. Use your illithid potential.
Alright, now that Korga is dead, we get to challenge the Goblin Camp, and in this Draw fight, I get to show just how busted this build Phantasmal Killer is. Sadly, we don't get it as a natural spell on this class, so I had to use a scroll for it here, but it's for sure worth it just to show how hard it counters any of these very mobile melee fighters, just like Draw because it just removes all their movement speed and makes them take damage every turn, so they basically die and just aren't part of the fight anymore, which is just great. Also, let me know what you think about these little intros for the fights. I want to do these for every fight in this video, and just tell me what you think of them. I think it's a good idea, but yeah.
I'm coming for you.
Alright, next up is Mythara, and this fight got really close at the end. I should have died, I think 9 out of 10 times I die here. I just got extremely lucky. So I guess I'll take it, but this wasn't how it was supposed to go.
Have I been this way before? Let's get this over with. Should get started. Keep going. First.
The mountain pass is ahead, and our first order of business is to scam an old lady out of some money.
Look over there. You'll be well compensated, of course. Just bring me an egg.
Then we collect level 6 from the kobolds. Sadly, the level 6 feature for our class is not that great. It's only once per short rest, and usually it doesn't even appear, even if you have the reaction ready. So it's very unreliable as well. We do get counterspell here though, which is pretty nice to have, especially against some of the legendary actions, since a bunch of legendary actions actually can be counterspelled, in case you didn't know, so always great to have this on a bit.
Do not let it. Stay away from the Githyanki. They're hunting you. They want the artifact. They'll stop at nothing to take it from you.
Next, we enter the crash of the Githyanki, and here there are actually quite a few things we need. For one, we need the ring from the Inquisitor room, which gives us 1d4 psychic damage on all of our attacks as long as we are concentrating on anything. And we also want the buff from the machine from the Doctor, because we are going to be using a lot of illicit powers on this run, since they just perfectly align with the psychic damage theme. So this buff allows us to cast them with a bonus action, so we really need that, so hopefully we will succeed the saves on it.
Time to press ahead. You feel your parasites. Your body layered, your skull groans and bends under the pressure. You feel yourself ebbing away, while the parasite only grows stronger. It's evolving. The divine. No! No more! Pour yourself into the tadpoles. The two forces fuse violently together. Enough! The rooms. Incredible. Your parasite is even stronger now.
Alright, I want to make a quick detour to Act 2 to collect a bunch of stuff before we continue with the later Act 1 stuff. But to do this effectively, I want the 1d4 radiant damage from the Modding Lord Radiance buff, as well as the Blood of the Thunder, just to deal with the first few encounters, so we don't die immediately. Okay, now we're ready to enter the Shadow Cursed Lands, and in this fight you're gonna see why exactly I wanted these items first. Because these shadows actually deal a bunch of damage. If they manage to hit you, they can deal like 27 damage in one hit, even without a crit. So, better be safe than sorry.
Well done. Keep your torch high.
Before we go to last light though, I quickly want to kill these ravens for XP. And there's this pretty cool strategy using darkness. You can also shoot an arrow of darkness, that also works. To basically avoid being surprised by them and surprising them yourself. Actually, Cloud of Daggers is very useful for this, because these ravens do have evasion, so anything like a bomb or a fireball wouldn't work as effectively. But this is perfect, because it doesn't have a save, so we can kill all of them very quickly. Alright, next up we buy the +1 armor class cloak and the Shadeclinger armor from Quartermaster Tully. Using the Shadeclinger armor by simply equipping it and then unequipping it for the buff is technically an exploit, but playing this game without exploit is just half as fun.
What
so
now?
there's no point in
I'm sure you
not using it.
If you're done rifling through my things. What now?
We also need the Pixie Blessing to venture into the deeper parts of the Shadow-Cursed lands, but we are in no state to fight Karnas right now, so instead of fighting him, I would just convince him to give me the lantern, which I think is in line with this entire build concept. So I get the lantern here, so we can venture deeper and collect some other items.
This is not Her Majesty's will.
As the sound. You know to be.
This lantern only lights the way when I am. Did me a good turn there, didn't you? Yeah, you're well.
Saving Arabella here is very important, because I do want to use the Shadow Blade in Act 3 for those insanely high psychic damage numbers, and her ring is at the moment the only way to get that spell. Obviously in patch, as soon as patch 8 drops, we will get it as a normal spell, but right now you still need to do this quest. And the last item we take is the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. I think most of you know what this helmet does, but just in case you don't. Whenever you attack anybody with a weapon attack, you get 2 stacks of Arcane Acuity, which is an effect that gives you 1 spell attack and 1 spell save DC extra, and can stack up to 10 times. This entire effect is insanely busted. It just gives you unbeatable spell save DC unless your enemy has legendary resistance, which would give them plus 10 to their saves. But under any other circumstances, they usually don't save if you have that effect stacked up to the maximum. And you gotta see me use arrows of many targets a lot from this point on. Not because my damage is gonna be great with arrows, but mostly just to stack that effect up, because they hit 4 times and each of those times gives me 2 stacks of the effect. So they are just fantastic to use with this helmet. Killing the red caps and entering the Hags Lair does give us level 7, and level 7 by itself is nice because we get level 4 spell slot, so we can upcast all of our existing spells. But most importantly, it unlocks level 5 spells in shops. Now usually I'm not a big fan of using scrolls, but for this build specifically, you get so many different spells so early on by using scrolls, and depending on their effect they can be very fun to use. So for this build I'm gonna make it an exception and just use all those different enchantment scrolls to really play around with it.
This is my.
What is this place?
This fight against Auntie Ethel is one of the first instances where I use one of those high level scrolls to at least try to overpower her, but what she does in response is honestly, it blew my mind the first time I saw it, because I didn't know the AI was that advanced. It's kinda sad, I don't think it happens on any difficulty below honor mode, but honestly I was kinda shocked when I saw her doing this. You see what I mean.
Don't want to draw any attention.
sorry to interrupt mid-fight, but this was crazy. Like later on in the playthrough I see this happen multiple times, so it's not that uncommon. But this was the first time where I encountered people doing this, so I was pretty shocked. In case you were unaware what just happened, she threw a poison bomb to damage herself while she was dominated. So when an enemy is dominated, at least on the higher difficulties, I think their AI knows they're dominated, so they actually try to take damage to roll a save, because whenever you have any of these dominate effects on you, you only roll a save when you take damage. So they try everything in their power to take that damage to make a save happen, which is crazy to me that they actually think so far.
Bloody clever clubs! Wait!
What? It's unpleasant. So how about...
I knew what. Just, it's your choice, sweetness. He deals anger.
Bye.
Alright, now that we're done with Act 1, we enter the Shadow-Cursed lands for real this time, to actually do some combat. And our first combat, well, isn't actually combat. We are talking to all of the Thorms to make them off themselves. I usually don't do this, but I think on a run like this, where the entire theme is to enchant people and to like control them, these kind of dialogue kills are allowed, I'd say.
Leaning in, you can see how the creature's skin barely holds it together.
Go on, drink. Make it drink. Be drunk. You and I both. To our good.
The lick.
Now tell me the story. A fable. A saga. A deal most sordid for you ask, you drink, then you amaze, enthuse, astound me.
Your belly.
Tell me of foes fell, villains vanquished, beast bastard. I'll drain
Never a dull moment.
After Teaserbite, we proceed to Malus, and same system applies. I think his dialogue is a bit weaker, just because having a drink off is way cooler. But we still just use dialogue to kill him.
Absence. In light.
You are well on your way, but one white orb disfigures you still. Let us finish the cure. Their incisions are. How to steady their hands, I wonder. Yes, for are we not all in need of a cure? The scalpel does not discriminate. Let each and every one of you partake in its soothing journey. Absent sisters, acquaint yourselves. It is a proud moment when one sees one's teachings so lovingly taken to heart. You are to be commended for their graduation, rewarded with the promised cure. Come, I will acquaint you with the lady's dark-fingered embrace. Your diligence is exemplary. Very well. Your own scalpel you will be. Observe, then succeed me into the succor of Shah.
In this Meazels fight, we actually get some huge value from Dominate Person, because they actually fail all their saves, because for once I actually remember to stack Arcane Acuity beforehand. So this Meazels is just our companion for the entire time, which is pretty funny.
Should get started. Another step forward.
Next up we have the Gith Patrol, and I think this fight more than anything shows just how useless a Githyanki is if you get rid of their weapons. This is true for the ones in the crash, but also these ones, especially because without their weapons they don't have light anymore to protect them from the curse.
Your wargaz failed to kill you. I won't make the same mistake.
Doing last light defense is always a gamble, because no matter what you do, Isabel can always die if you don't have some certain spells to protect her. But this defense, honestly, was pretty successful. I landed some very huge spells on both the wing guy and his little undead friends. So just watch it. It's a pretty cool fight.
The blessing.
But the cultists are able to traverse even. I wish you luck. While you're busy in the tower. Marcus!
I've been blessed, true soul. Mine.
You can't.
now that that's done, I have something special prepared for you. This took me about 2 hours to edit because I had no clue what I was doing, but I think it turned out pretty great. All I'm gonna say is, I did go to Moonrise with a healthy amount of Dominate Person scrolls in my pocket, and this is the result. I do hope you liked that, because it took me a huge chunk of my day to do that. But now that that's done, we can finally do Ketheric for real. And Ketheric is usually pretty tame, especially if you do it like me and just get rid of his allies before the fight starts when you kill Nightsong. But he's even more useless if you just get rid of his weapon, because just like any other paladin, his entire damage just disappears as soon as his weapon drops. This, like, if you want another way to kill the zealots on this build, using fear on them, just like I did with the Gith, is also extremely valid. They just can't do anything anymore. But I wanted to keep this strategy for Ketheric just to mix it up a bit, and I think the Great War was pretty entertaining too, so it just paid out. Okay, now this is a special one because I usually don't do this fight. The only reason I do this fight in this playthrough is because someone asked for me to specifically do it in the comments of my last build. Actually not my last build, my second to last build. The one with the Paladin. So, as I said, if you have any fights that you like to see and that I do not show in these videos, I try to mix it up myself, but if I just don't show it, feel free to leave a comment and just ask for it. Also, if you made it this far in the video, why not subscribe and like the video? It helps me out so much and I would really appreciate it. Anyway, enjoy the Shambling Mount. Now we're basically done with all of the open world Act 2, so we just head down into the colony and collect actually some very important items. One is the Resonance Stone, which is probably the most important item on this entire build, because this is a psychic damage build after all, and this just doubles psychic damage unless you're next to an undead or construct. They don't get affected by Steeped in Bliss. Which is why I don't use it for a strategy against Myrkul, otherwise I would have easily used it. And you'll see the Myrkul fight, it's gonna be tough. But for all of Act 3 this stone is gonna be huge. And we also pick up the Brain Drain Gloves, which are incredibly nice. I'm gonna go more in depth on what they do in my future videos, because that's where I'm gonna use them more. But just know that I picked them up here. Oh boy, where do I even begin with this fight? I'm gonna moderate it a bit more throughout the footage, but just as a heads up, Myrkul on this playthrough was a real struggle. I knew he was gonna be tough, but I thought something worked against him, which ended up just not working. Because in this game, enemies just end up being randomly immune to stuff that their effects don't clarify they're immune to. It's just like invisible immunities, basically. Because if you have, for example, an elf and he's immune to sleep, you know that he's immune to sleep because he has Fey Ancestry, a perk that you can see. But some enemies in this game just don't, they have immunities to stuff, but they don't have perks that represent those immunities. You just can't see it, you have to guess. So it's incredibly annoying to fight them, like especially on Myrkul and Raphael, I encounter those a lot. They are just randomly immune to stuff that they shouldn't be immune to, which is very annoying. I think that's a big Larian L. Yeah, just want to put that out before the fight starts, so you know. I love this game, dude. Yeah, this is the point where I realized Phantasmal Killer doesn't work and I had to get a solution quickly. Honestly, most of the enchantment spells don't work. I tested a bunch of them after this fight on a different save. And Myrkul is just immune to almost anything in the game. He can be confused, which I did try, but even if I confused him, he still attacked only me for some reason. Like, he didn't even bother to attack his Necromites. So even that didn't work. But I did have a strategy though, because once you bring him to around 300 HP, he starts calling for his minions to heal him up again. And whenever he heals up, he also gains the ability to cast Finger of Death, a level 7 spell for 1 turn. So, since we have Psionic Backlash, which does damage on the caster depending on the spell level, we can simply make him eat the Necromites and then use the Backlash to damage him, which is, in this case, 7d4 damage minus 2, so the maximum damage is about 26 we can deal. The problem here is that he also heals whenever he eats a Necromite. And to prevent that, we just Bone Chill him and prevent the healing, make him cast the spell. Obviously we take a chunk of damage, but nothing that we can't heal, so this way we can really wear him down easily. As you can see, once we've applied Bone Chill, he cannot heal from the Necromite anymore and only gains the level 7 spell, which is what we want. And I should say, this entire strategy only works because we have Seluna's Blessing, which gives us, specifically against magical necrotic damage, resistance. So the Necromites who deal non-magical necrotic damage can still damage us fully, but we only take half the damage from the level 7 spell, which is the only reason why we can even do this. Do run into an issue though, because he doesn't eat infinite Necromites. Once he starts eating them, he eats 8 of them and then stops spawning them. So we don't... our main damage source is now gone. So I have 2 options here. One, I can sit there, cast Darkness on him, and basically for 100 turns straight, just shoot arrows at him. Which would be possible, but I value my time a bit higher than that, so I simply use 2 Scrolls of Chain Lightning. I know. Judge me if you want, but I just didn't want to sit there. I had enough healing to do this. It's not like it was out of desperation, it was just to save me a lot of time and boredom. Anyways, I hope you did enjoy this. I tried to mix it up between fights and show different spells and just abilities in general. I think I'm gonna do a much better job at that in Act 3, just because we get a bunch more upgrades to our build and different build variants. Yeah. Also, I know this was a big video and it took me a lot of time to make, and I'm sorry that I took so long to upload. But I think it was worth it. I learned a lot, just in general about editing. So if you did enjoy, just give me some feedback, what I can do better. I still want to improve a lot. But yeah, have a great day.